Hey you, how are all of my beautiful, lovely, wonderful planty people doing today? I hope you are doing well. I am doing well. It is Christmas season, or at least it's upon us. I always start decorating after Remembrance Day, and let me tell you, this weekend, like probably as you're watching this, I am digging out all of my Christmas decorations, drinking rum and eggnog, and going insane with decorating. At least that's the plan. That's the plan. We'll see. I don't know. I'm probably going to be filming a lot of it. I'm going to try to up my Christmas videos in December. I'm probably going to call it Vlogmas. I'm going to try to do a lot more. Here's a little secret that I've been working on. I actually have Jordan coming on to film a couple videos with me. We're just doing some fun stuff. Some of it plant related, some of it not plant related. But it's been a really long time since you guys have seen Jordan here on the channel. For those of you who are new and don't know who that is my wonderful, lovely, patient fiance who has put up with all of my plant craziness and my YouTube things. And so he has agreed to come on and do some content with me for December. And I am so excited. I hope you are too. So if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Make sure you turn your notifications to all so that you get notified when we upload those videos. Also, if you are already subscribed or were, make sure that you're still subscribed, because as I've said so many times recently, YouTube has been doing this thing where it just randomly like unsubscribes people from channels. I don't understand the logic there, but here we are. Okay, so also make sure that you're following me on Instagram. Here's my Instagram account. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions over there. All of my subscriber interactive content and upcoming videos and video requests and requests from you guys for photos, etc. A lot of them will be posted over there. I try as much as possible to also upload those on the community tab, but sometimes I forget. So make sure you're following me over there for that as well. Okay, so what are we doing today? I did allude to this last week, but today we are going to be taking a little look at my Ikea cabinets. So I have an Ikea living wall cabinet, which is right here behind me. I also have one that has the glass shelves, and it's basically exactly like it comes from Ikea. I also have a short Millsbow, which I also did a little DIY foam background on that I'll be giving you an update on as well. And I'm also going to be updating you on my terrarium, which is sitting right here beside me, and just kind of let you know I've made some tweaks in there, and I just kind of want to break down for you guys each of the different cabinet situations, terrarium situations, what's working, what's not working, how the plants are doing in there. And also I asked you guys on Instagram and the community tab to let me know if you had any questions about the Ikea cabinets or the terrariums that I could answer for you. There are some questions that I've kind of gotten over the past few months that I'm going to try to be addressing as I'm going through, but make sure you stay through to the end of the video, because I will be answering directly all of your questions at the end of the video. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm kind of excited to show you around. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of like cool stuff going on in the cabinets, and I'm looking forward to showing you. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I almost made it through that one. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please stick around and let's check out my Ikea greenhouse cabinet updates and terrarium update. Let's just go and do that. Okay, so first things first, we're going to take a look at my terrarium. So I built this terrarium quite a few months ago now. I'll post that video up here in the corner in case you wanted to check out how I built this, how I made the background, etc. Okay, so I did make some changes in here. In my last video, or one of my last videos, I did mention that this terrarium has been sitting here. This is the one that I originally built, was in my bedroom. As you can probably tell, I've basically deconstructed it now. I've taken the majority of the plants out, with the exception of some that are dead, dying, or I just have an abundance of. So back over here, I have added a bunch of things. So this I added, so these are, oh my goodness, the name is just leaving me. I'll write it on the screen anyways, because I don't want to sit here and mumble over it. So I've added this guy in here. So this was about a week ago maybe, and it's doing quite well. These things grow like crazy fast. It's a beautiful plant. It's got gorgeous leaves. The texture is nice, so it's really a nice contrast in here for some darker, more textured looking foliage. So that's in there. It's doing quite well. It seems to have rooted itself rather quickly. And it will probably just kind of grow all over the place. That is one that I'll definitely have to do a lot of upkeep with as far as pruning it back goes, because they can overtake any situation really quickly, and I don't want it choking out the roots of some other plants. So we also have this silver dragon in here. So the original one was planted right back here, as you can see. And over here, you can see that there is a new little baby offshoot. So what these plants do is they send out basically like underground runners. They're very similar to tulip bulbs, daffodils, dahlias, and those sorts of things. So over time, their bulbs, or in this case, their rhizomes, multiply and send out new plant shoots. So that's what this one has done. So this plant over here is actually a brand new little baby plant, and you can see it's so cute. So I was kind of excited to see that. It's actually happened. This plant I find does that very frequently. My big silver dragon that I have over on one of my plant shelves has thrown out like 2 or 3 of them already. And it's just really cool. It's a really fun way to like fill in a plant. In here, I am going to kind of have to keep an eye on it just to make sure that they don't get too out of control, because obviously there's not a ton of space for the plant roots, and I don't want them getting too entangled. So what else do we have in here? So another cool thing that's been going on in here is this is a Brill Marks Fantasy. It's kind of hard to see in the back there, but it's planted right down here. It has managed to grow its way all the way through here and up. So this, I think, here is the newest leaf, and it started to attach itself to all of this Spanish moss and the roots actually from the plants above. So it's probably going to climb up in here and just kind of continue to spread its wings and fly, you know? So that has been a really cool plant to watch. Let me see if I can get down a little better. So in the top corner here, I had planted, what did we have? We had the Monstera siltbecana. We had the Cebu blue pothos. Oops, or Epipremnum Cebu blue, I suppose. And then we had this Micans. Now check this out. This Micans has grown all the way across the top, which is really interesting. And if you look right here, let's see if I can get, it is actually, the aerial roots have stuck to the top, and it's just kind of going buck wild across the top here. I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to let it go and see how that ends up, because I think it would be so cool to have like this, you know, vine coming across here and have these, you know, leaves coming down from the top. Like if you can kind of get like a picture of that, I think it would look so cool. Some of these other ones, this one I think is probably just getting a little too much light in that area, but the ones back here are really doing well. They've rooted in really well, and this is only rooted in spag moss actually. And then we have some coming up the top here. So maybe we can get all 3 of these plants to come across. How cool would that be? I think it would be cool. Okay, what else do we have in here? So, okay, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? So you can see that there's this stem going all the way across. Let's see, where does it go? All the way in behind and somewhere back there. That actually belongs, let's follow it along here. There's some of its leaves. Let's follow it. Goes in back there, all the way in behind here and over here. So that is actually from my Hoya Walliniana. I got this Hoya from Plant Haven, Toronto, and I love this Hoya. It's so cool. The leaves, when they are exposed to brighter light, get this beautiful purpley red hue, as you can kind of see there. And over here, you've got the, like that nice deep purple. So that also is a really nice contrast to have in a situation like this. So it's not just all like a mass wall of green, and you can really see the individual plants pop. So that thing's going crazy. One of its stems is actually grown right up into the mesh on the top here. And then we also have this one that's growing out here. This thing loves this terrarium. It's growing insanely fast and just all over the place. So that's been really cool to watch. So we have also in here this philodendron ring of fire. It's got a new leaf on the way out here. They're so pretty. They're pinks and yellows and oranges. That won't be able to be in here forever. Right now it's kind of maintaining its smaller size, and I think basically that's just chalked up to the amount of roots that are probably in here. So right now it's okay, but these plants do get really, really big. So it's not going to be able to be in here forever, but for right now I think it adds just a really cool look, and he's okay in there for now. If we look beside that, we have this little guy. So this is just a propagation that I took quite a while ago. It was just a tiny little, like a node cutting. It didn't have any leaves. And this is a philodendron splendid. And I just kind of plunked it in here. So it's kind of growing really like tall and straight. I know it's hard to see with the rest of the plants in the background, but it's kind of cool. It's like its own little tree in there. You know what I mean? I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, for back here, I did put this little, I think they're called a cryptantha. I usually get that wrong. But this is a little one that I had in my big terrarium that I took out and put in here. Oops, my little air plant fell down. We'll just stick him back up there. We also have a little butterwort in here that catches all of the fungus gnats that happen to get in here. And for those of you curious to know, I have only seen maybe 2 fungus gnats in this whole terrarium for the entirety of the time that I've had it. Whether they get in here and this guy catches them right away, I don't know. But it's actually worked out quite well. I've actually taped up. So this is the whole, because these would normally be used as a terrarium for like amphibians, etc., or lizards. So they need air holes to breathe, right? But I've kind of closed those off. I just put tape over it to keep the humidity up. And every now and then I open it because obviously it needs air circulation. So right now I've just taken the glass off and I let that air circulate through there. It's really important for rotting issues, for like fungal issues and that kind of thing. You really do need airflow. So that has worked so far for me. Okay, moving along. So beside that, I have this cute little cutting that I got from Paula, who I believe got it in a trade with Lucia from Lulu's Leaves. So it's kind of nice that we all just have this little plant trade community and we can just kind of like share plants with each other. I think that's so fun. Anyway, this begonia Sinbad is... Sinbad? Wait. Did I get that right? I'll put it on the screen because I totally forget. I don't think that's right. It could be. I don't know. Anyway, really, really pretty little begonia. I am going to have to get it out of here soon. Oh my God, it flowered. Look. Oh, I didn't even notice. Sorry, getting all excited. That's so cute. Anyway, really, really pretty little begonia. It's not going to be able to stay in here. These things get absolutely huge, and probably, again, the only reason that it hasn't is because it's still in this little cup that Paula gave it to me in. But as you can see, it doesn't really like sitting on the wet moss floor of this terrarium. The leaves don't, oh, shoot, my bad, okay. So anyway, that's something that I'll have to deal with so that we don't lose that plant. Okay, anyway, really cute, pretty little begonia. It seems to really be enjoying it in here, with the exception of having its leaves laid down on the bottom floor. So one of the other things I did while we're kind of over here is I've taken all of these little driftwood pieces that were in my other tank and put them in here. So we've got this one. We've got this one that I've stood up to kind of appear as though it's like an older tree or something. And then we have this kind of knotted, tangled one kind of weaving its way up there. And there is also one over here that seems to have fallen down, but I'll fix that later. And it just gives the whole terrarium a more natural kind of look. It's kind of, you know, jungly and woodsy, in my opinion, anyways. Okay, what else do we have in here? Goodness. Okay, I've also taken this piper, and this piper, look at the size of this leaf. It's massive. So this one was in my other terrarium and being completely ignored. So I've popped him out of there and put him in here. He seems to be doing okay. He hasn't wilted or anything since I put it in here. So I think it's acclimating well, which is great. I've kind of leaned it against this little piece of driftwood in hopes that it will kind of climb up that. I don't know where it's going to go after that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. In behind here, I also put this Hoya Bella. I did have it leaning up against the side, but I think it just needed some more support. So it seems to be doing really well in here. If we follow it up, we do actually have some new leaves. I don't know if it's focusing on them, but they're right here. They're teeny tiny and super cute. Behind that, we have this humongous, if you follow it along here, it comes up here, down here, and then all of these that are giving it this super jungly look are all the roots from this Hoya, and this Hoya is a Hoya lacanosa super silver. Really cool Hoya. Ever since I put this particular Hoya in this terrarium, it has gone bonkers. So they seem to like higher humidity. And it also is only potted in spag moss, and the spag moss it's actually potted in is over underneath here. We also have a little Dischidia variegata right here that's kind of climbing up the back. And there you can see it is 24.5 degrees and 90% humidity, and that is with the glass doors off. The humidity stays nice and high in there, and it's just been amazing as far as growth for the majority of the plants. Not all of them, but a lot of them. What else do we have here? So we also have this guy. So this is an air plant, as well as some other little air plants that I have stuck in and around here. They seem to be doing really well in there. Also, I don't need to water them as often being in here because the humidity is so high. So I would say I probably water those every 3 to 4 weeks, as opposed to ones that I would have out in the open, which I would probably water about once a week. What else? Down here we have the, I can't remember the new name for it, but I got it from Plant Haven Toronto as Hoya acuta variegata. It has grown 4 new leaves since I got it. And you guys know me with Hoya. I'm not the best Hoya mom ever. They're just not, I guess, in my wheelhouse. But I really like this one. I love the color. I love the contrast on the leaves. I love the contrast to the whole overall, you know, just gives the whole terrarium more interest. And it's been doing really well in here and seems to really like it. Beside that, we have this. This is a variegated African violet. Now, I know it doesn't look super variegated. If you look down the bottom, there are some variegated leaves down here. I got this as, I believe it was just like a 1-leaf cutting at the time, and it's not getting crazy high light, so the variegation is kind of starting to go. But I do have another large variegated African violet in my window in my kitchen, and it is super variegated and super beautiful. So I'm not mad at this one, and I really kind of like how it looks just sitting in the corner there. Here we have one that has not done the best. So this is Begonia brevirosa. And you can see it's got a new little leaf coming, so maybe it's starting to bounce back a little bit. I've been just letting her go and giving her time and her space to recuperate. When I first put her in here, she grew a couple new leaves, did really well, and then kind of declined a little bit. But I'm just letting that one be, and we'll see how that guy goes. At the back here, we have another silver dragon. As you can see, this was an original plant. And over... Oh, I think I took it out. It had actually shot out another rhizome, and over here was growing another baby plant. But I believe I removed that one. I can't even remember where I put it, if I'm being completely honest. And down here, this guy is not doing well. It's not dying, but it's not growing very well. If you can't tell what it is, which... You probably cannot. It does not at all resemble what the plant actually looks like. I'm going to give you guys a second. We'll come back to this plant. I want you to go down into the comments and see if you can guess what this plant is. Let me get in there a little closer. Get you focused. Can you guess what this plant is? Or do you remember from the original plant or the original video where I planted this, what that plant is? I'm really curious to see your guesses. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Above that, we have one of my Syngonium pink splashes. It's been doing really well in here. The leaves are super beautiful and pink. There we go, a little focus. Really, really pretty. Again, it adds some color, some contrast to the all green of a lot of the other leaves. And it's been doing really well in here. It's got a new leaf coming out here, and it's potted in soil just in this little cup that I have tucked in there. And it seems to be doing really well. It's loving life. And I think actually that is the last pink Syngonium that I had. I think I got rid of all of my other ones. I think that's the last one I've got. Oh, in behind here, you can see right here, that leaf right there. And over here, which is not looking so good at the end here, but that is a pitcher plant. And the only reason it's really not doing the best right now and showing us a whole bunch of pictures is because I keep forgetting to water it when I water the rest of the terrarium. It's kind of stuck in the back there, and it just slips my mind every time. I am starting to get better, so I'm hoping that these will start to develop pitchers here shortly. But the pitchers on this plant, as opposed to the one in my living wall terrarium or living wall cabinet, the pitchers are like this really cool deep burgundy color. Really, really pretty pitcher plant. Don't ask me the name of it. I didn't buy it with a name. I just know it's a Nepenthes pitcher plant. That's all I know. Okay, I think the last one in here, oh, I also put this other Burl Marks Fantasy. This is the mother plant of the one that we put over here when we originally planted. So this is just the original plant that I had, and I just popped that on this side and let him, he's going to go ahead and probably climb up this wall. And in the back there, I have just some more of this plant, which is, I still can't remember the name of it. It's driving me nuts. You guys are probably all typing it in the comment section as we speak. Thank you. So as I'm editing this, I just realized that we forgot to come back to this plant right here. So that plant, let me see if you got it right. That plant is a philodendron Florida ghost. Give yourself a pat on the back. Go down and type a thumbs up if you got that one right. Because it is very, very, very not obviously a Florida ghost. Okay, back to me before. Other than that, the whole terrarium is doing really well. So the basic care of this terrarium is more low maintenance than you might think. I water everything in here every 2 weeks because the humidity stays fairly high. I don't need to water it as I would water like the rest of the plants in my collection. Also, so on the off weeks that I water, so did that make sense? So I water 1 week. The next week I come in here with my spray bottle of distilled water or filtered water, and I just give everything a really good spray down. And then the following week will be another water week, if that makes sense. So I just alternate weeks, 1 week's watering week, 1 week spraying week, if that helps you at all. Other than that, that's pretty much all. I've really had a great time. I had a wonderful time making this terrarium. I love how it's looking. I love how everything is really growing in and really creating this super cool jungly vibe. And I love it. I'm so happy with this one. I can't even tell you. I'm obsessed. So that is the first update. That is my little living wall terrarium. Let's go ahead and check out my first Mills bow. All right, let's take a look at my very first Mills bow cabinet. So I haven't done anything special to this cabinet yet. Do I have something in the works? Abso-freaking-lutely. Not going to tell you what it is, but I do have something in the works for this cabinet. So for those of you out there that just have, you know, regular Mills bow cabinets with, you know, the glass shelves that came with it, the OG, come as they are, de facto cabinets. Am I going overboard on that? Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit how this one is working out for me. So I have a fan in here that circulates air. Problematic part is that because this piece is fairly solid and there really isn't much of a gap here, not as much air circulation gets up top. So I really, about once a week, I'll open the doors, and I have a little fan here that I have on oscillate, and it just kind of fans the inside of my cabinets, as well as my plants. I usually, I turned it off for filming purposes because it is quite loud, but it's a great little fan, and I have that pointed, if you can see, watch the direction here. I have it pointed at my plants. It's really good for plants to get air circulation. It helps build stronger stems, petioles. It, you know, keeps the air moving around them so they don't end up with fungal spots, that sort of thing. Does that mean it never happens? Of course not. But air circulation around plants is really important. So that is the one problem that I do have with this particular terrarium, with this particular cabinet. Other than that, I haven't done anything else. I don't have a humidifier in here. Now that I've opened the doors, you can see that, oh, we keep changing. Why are we, oh, there. Sorry, I had to change it back to Celsius. Sorry for my US friends. These are actually really good. So these little ones are from VivoSun. Let me see if I can get you focus in here. It's about as good as I'm going to get it. So these are really handy because you can change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can also get like a bunch of different information, like the all-time low, all-time high. Like I said, you just touch screen here and you can change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Really cool little system. And this is the original battery. It's still going and it is fairly accurate. So I really like these ones from VivoSun. Okay, so because I've opened the door, it's dropped to 53%. But the funny part I find about this one is, even in comparison to my shorter Mills bow, is this one maintains humidity really well. For not having, normally it sits around 65–70%, which is really great. That's kind of a really ideal place for the majority of these plants to be. As far as weather stripping is concerned, I have weather stripped. I use this stuff, which just kind of sticks on here. If I can focus on it. Not really. Oh, maybe. So it sticks on the one side, and it's just this little flap that kind of creates, so when you close the door, it bridges the gap that's in between the doors. I also placed one on the top here, and that's on both doors, on the top and the bottom. And that's all I've done. And it maintains the humidity quite well, surprisingly well. As far as lighting, I use these Barina lights. So I have one here and I have one down here on this glass. And I get a lot of questions about how I have secured them to the metal and the glass. And my answer is Gorilla Glue. Now, that's great as long as you don't mind having a more permanent solution. If you plan to use these going forward for something else, Gorilla Glue probably isn't your best option. But for the top, at least, a great option if you don't want to go super permanent is to glue, and I've also done this in this cabinet, so I'll show you that when we get there. But I bought these round magnets, and they're super, super strong off Amazon, and I just glued the magnet to the light, and then it just snaps up. And that's really great because you can take it down, you can clean it, you can move it around. It's wonderful, it works well. I wish I had a thought of that when I built this one, but I didn't. So that's fine. But the super glue, honestly, the Gorilla Glue, Crazy Glue works wonderfully. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all the news I have on this cabinet. But like I said, I do have some stuff coming up here soon that I will be doing with this. It may not be till after Christmas because I've got some stuff going on with the channel and in my personal life around Christmas, and it's probably going to be a little hectic to get to that. So, but like I said before, keep your eye open for that. I have to show you this though. Look at this thing. It is just loving life in here. Oh, I love it so much. That is the Begonia Brevimosa, like the one that's not doing great that's in my terrarium. This one is doing phenomenally well, and it looks like I'll probably have to take it down off of that riser because she just wants to grow right into that light, and I don't want her to do that. So that is this cabinet. Now let's move on to the one that you guys will probably find the most interesting, which is my living wall, both of my living wall terrariums, cabinets, you know what I mean. Okay, let's just go. Okay, let's take a look at, this is the first living wall one that I did, and I will explain all about it. I will also, oh, look at that, we got stuff. We have blockage here. Oh. Okay. I'll also explain very briefly what it's made of. If you want to watch the full video on how I put it together and how I made it, I do have a playlist. I will link it up here in the eye, and you can go and watch that there, or in the cards. Okay, so this cabinet was made, I would probably go as far as to saying it's been going on a year. I think I made it shortly after Christmas. I'll post that on the screen too because I really can't remember. But what I did to make this one is I took a piece of wooden lattice. I used spray foam to create the background, which it's so filled in now that it's kind of hard to see. But like I said, in that video, you can really see how I made it. So I built these little plant holders, I guess, right into it so that I could set plants inside. And that has all held up really, really, really well. I don't have molding. I don't have odd smells coming from it. It has honestly been amazing. It has held up so, so well. I didn't use cork board or that board that you can get from Ikea for any of my cabinets, nor do I plan on it. I've seen a lot of people having issues with molding and stuff like that. So if that's you, let me know. Some seem to be made of like a particle wood, and then some people I've heard say they're plastic, but I really don't know because I've never purchased those. So you can let me know if you've got them. Are they plastic? Are they wood? Are they paper? Let me know. Okay, but mine has held up really, really well. So I definitely do recommend the wooden lattice. The one piece of advice that I would give you, if you're going to use any background like this and use spray foam on top, is when the spray foam is drying, make sure that you have weight on both ends of the lattice lengthwise, because as the foam dries, it it tightens and it will actually warp. So you'll end up with this board that's curving. So in order to avoid that, make sure that you weigh down both ends so that you don't get warping on your board. Other than that, it works phenomenally well. I have it simply hanging from these Amazon magnetic hooks. I think they say that it holds like 50 to 80 pounds. Personally, I probably wouldn't put 80 pounds on here, but as you can see, there's a lot in here. There is quite a bit of weight, especially when I water them. Now I do have it sitting slightly on this box that we built on the back, so that is providing some support on the back, which I would highly recommend, not only just to support the background, but also the more weight that you have pulling down on these glass pieces, the more likely you are to shatter them. If they have too much weight on them, they're not designed to be super heavy. Also, and I've mentioned this in a previous video as well, you don't want to have a whole lot of weight on top of your cabinet, because again, these are not designed to have a mass amount of weight pushing down on these glass panels. Just a little FYI for you. But, so it's supported from the bottom, hung basically from these little hooks. You can see the hook poking through right here, just through the holes in the lattice. Works like a charm. Love it. So like I said, I'll put the video up here if you want to actually watch the whole process in making that. I am still in love with this cabinet. It maintains about a 78 to 79% humidity, which is great. I think this one holds more humidity, obviously, than say that Millsbow, because we've got the additional media on the actual background that holds moisture as well. So when I go in here and spray things, it actually holds some of the moisture in the background, which is the spray foam covered with coco coir and sphagnum moss. So everything just kind of holds on. I'm running out of breath, talking too fast. What a surprise. Everything in here is loving life. We've got some really big anthuriums that are very quickly going, like they're going crazy. So this is actually a Anthurium regale. This is the one that I got in my most recent import. This leaf is beautiful. We did wait a little while longer than all of the other imports to get a leaf on this plant, but I am so happy to wait, because this is the result. It's beautiful. We then have this ginormous, let's pull her out here, Queen Anthurium. She's humongous. I believe when we measured her last, she was 32 inches, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while. So Jordan and I, especially Jordan, he checks like every day to see if we've got any new leaves coming out on here. We don't. And I think that's because this lady is very quickly becoming a little bit root bound. There is a whole lot of roots in that small pot, and I think she needs some more room to stretch her feet out. So that probably will be an upcoming chore that I'll have to do. And then over here on this side, we have this Anthurium balaoenum. I think I said that right. This is one that I got last year from my friend Cami in British Columbia. She sent this all the way from BC. It was this tiny, cute little plant, and it has grown really quickly into this huge, beautiful, look at the leaves on these. It's so, so pretty. Very, very easy Anthurium to care for. It's not super picky about humidity. It likes medium to bright indirect light. Love it. We also have in here this Piper crocatum, I think it's called. I always get it wrong. So beautiful. These are the newer leaves. They have this lighter green color. And then these older ones are a little darker green, but it honestly doesn't look real. You know what I mean? That looks like something somebody made. That doesn't look like something nature created. And I just love it. And again, with the different contrast, when you're building things like this, you want to make sure that it's not just this, you know, flat green. You know, we've got things with veins, different shapes, different, different shades of green, different textures. We have some pinks in here. This light's gonna wash this plant out, but this pink princess has beautiful variegation. Not that you can really tell. Ugh, that's frustrating. This new leaf that's coming, it looks like it has a huge chunk of pink as well. We have this huge Xerographica air plant here. We have my little pitcher plant up here, which is just in spag moss. This guy I do have to water rather frequently. They do like higher light, so that's why I have it right near the top. But because of that, and because it's in spag moss, it does dry out quickly. So I have to water that usually every 4 to 5 days or so. Over here we have a philodendron gigas. You can see it just opened up a new leaf there. The color of these new leaves is so pretty. It's this like chocolatey brown, like soft velvet. Oh, amazing. We have some more air plants here. This one's growing a little pup right here. We've got this one. We have some in here, and they're doing quite well in here as well. We have this Aglaonema pictum tricolor in here as well. Probably could take that little leaf off there. Oops. We have a Forgetii. And then down here we just have my Rhaphidophora Hayi and Rhaphidophora cryptantha. This one is actually growing. Let's try to follow it up here, all the way up through there, and it goes actually all the way up till over here somewhere. I also have a fan in this one. So these fans are really great. They clip on and then you can bend them. So usually I switch these weekly. So for a week it will point this way and circulate the air up and around. And then actually it's about time, so I'll go ahead and switch it now. So I just bend it this way. And now it will blow air up this way and around. Does that help? I think so. And it's not harming anything. So I'm going to continue to do it. Everything just gets the right amount of circulation. So I explained the humidity level that it normally is, right? 75 to 80%, I think. Yeah, so that's about that with this guy. Love it. It's been amazing. It has produced, as you can see, these gorgeous, beautiful and huge anthuriums. And I really just love the look of it overall. It always gets oohs and ahs when people come into the house that haven't seen it. They're like, oh my God. And I'm like, it's crazy, right? So highly recommend doing something like this. It's been wonderful. Okay. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and move on to the last one, which is my Milbo short, and that is the newest one that I built. All right, here we are. There we go. Let's take a look at how things are doing in here. So, like I said, this is my most recent build. Let me just back up so you can get an overall view of what it looks like. There it is. So this one I did a little differently from the one we just looked at. So I still used the spray foam, but I mounted the spray foam on a piece of corrugated plastic. Plastic doesn't rot like wood would. Wood would? How much wood could wood? Sorry. And I had a couple pieces lying around, and waste not, want not, you know? And so I just did the background on that. And so far it has worked out really, really well. It's lighter weight, so you don't have as much weight on the back. I've affixed it exactly the same as I did with the lattice. And with this one, I just went with a more like rocky kind of look and just kind of put some moss in and around some of the cracks and crevices. Just to kind of give it a little bit more of a natural feel. Painted it all, hand painted it myself, which is kind of hard to see here, but it is all painted with different colors to make the rock look more natural, etc. For that one, again, up here, I will link the video if you wanted to go back and watch that. So, some reality here. This is a sad situation. So to the right, we have we have a tricolor Tradescantia, not that you can tell. And then to the left of that right here, we have a Pink Lady Peperomia. I don't know why I try with these plants anymore. Honestly, I don't. I quit, I give up. I concede, I can't do it. So those will probably be coming out and I'll have to find something else to put in here. I'd like to find something that can hold up to the light, but kind of fill in some more of this vertical space here. Next to that, we've got this little Hoya Hushkaliana. It's being really washed out. I'm really sorry. There. And it's doing much, much better since I put it in here. I just had it out on my shelf for the longest time. Was not happy. Put it in here. Started growing. We're starting to get pink on the leaves. Beautiful. Next to that, we have my silver, what's it called? Silver Lady? Right? Right? Sindaf's the Silver Lady, I think. So that's the one that has the silver, the majority of the silver on the tips of the leaves. You can see there. Hoya Curtisii. So all of these plants are doing really well. I'm not going to go too far into this particular one because I just did a fairly recent update for this one. But everything's doing quite well. We have, this is the newest leaf on my Philodendron luxurians. And as you can see right here, if it would focus, we have a new leaf coming in right here, which is lovely. This actually puts out leaves fairly frequently, so I'm really happy with that. Down here in the back there, we've got a Philodendron majestic, and this is an Anthurium genmanii variegata. So you can see the beautiful variegation there and there as well. Really, really pretty. So this is the first leaf that it's put out in my care, and I really like that kind of marbly variegation look. It's still kind of hardening off, so it's not got the super yellow like this one does. Really cool plant though. We have a new leaf on the Anthurium papillianum. Super cute, very pretty. In here we have the Anthurium rugulosum. And this guy has been a little tricky, I'm not gonna lie. If you're gonna get this Anthurium, you're definitely gonna wanna keep it in a greenhouse terrarium type setup. They do benefit from higher humidity. So I've kind of got it down on the bottom here, and there's trays, if you can see that, with leca in the bottom. And what I do to keep the humidity higher is I just top those trays up with water about once a week. And that helps provide a little bit of additional water to the plants that are sitting in here, and it also provides more ambient humidity without having an actual humidifier in here, which I don't like, don't recommend. You do you. As always, you do you, but I don't like putting humidifiers in my cabinets. So there's that. Then we have this little Philodendron Ploumanii, which is struggling her way along here. I've said it before, I have such a hard time growing small Ploumanii to large Ploumanii. I have a larger one, but I bought it larger. I don't know why. I just have such a tricky time growing them from small. Let's look up here. So here we have my Philodendron Soderoy. This is its newest leaf, and you can see that it's finally starting to get its stuff together. The beautiful silver on these leaves is just gorgeous. I'm obsessed with this plant, and I've waited so long to get these beautiful silvery leaves. Oh, so this plant appears to like the higher humidity in this, you know, kind of concealed cabinet situation, and it has really started to thrive since it's been in here. This one I always kind of akin to like a melanochrysum. The leaves tend to stick quite badly, so it's really benefited from being in here. Then we have this beauty here. So this is my Philodendron Strawberry Shake. that is gorgeous. So we've got this new leaf, and I'm hoping it's coming off on camera. Let me see if I can focus on that leaf. It's got this really cool, like, fruit punchy look to it. I don't know if that makes sense at all. It's like darker red up here, and then it kind of fades. Yeah, it's probably not coming off on camera very well. Really, really pretty. So that's like an all variegated leaf. So whereas this one's like a half moon, this one's just got all of the yellow. And then this one's got this beautiful like marbly kind of pink look. And then this one's kind of got a mismatch of the green and the yellow. Love that plant so much. It's so pretty. And it's actually grown quite quickly, a lot more quickly than I anticipated it growing. So that's really nice. We've got my crystallinum here, which I'm still waiting. It looks like it keeps trying to put out a new leaf here, but it hasn't as of yet, but it looks like it might. So we're still waiting for that. Down here we have an Anthurium debilis. This is another one that is a little more tricky. So again, it's going to benefit from higher humidity in a greenhouse or cabinet kind of scenario. You can see that it got stuck. It actually got stuck on this piece above it when it was coming out, and didn't appreciate that. Understandably so. Then we have this Jose Bono. Jose Bonos don't need to be in a terrarium type situation like this. They are super hardy plants. They grow like absolute gangbusters and don't really care about the humidity situation. My large Jose Bono I have just sitting out on my shelf. And right now the humidity, it kind of fluctuates in my living room between about 50% to 65% depending on the day. And it's completely happy whether it's at 45 or 50 or like 60, 70. So really great plant, really rewarding. I go on about them all the time because they just are like a great all-around plant, especially if you like variegated plants. It's a great one for beginners. Down here we have the Forgetii Silver. See her pretty leaves there. She's doing okay. Nothing crazy to report with that one. It's been a pretty good grower. I mean, there's nothing to write home about. Like them. Back in here we have the Anthurium pedatum. And these are the ones that get these really funky, cool... I don't know why I always think of like a pterodactyl when it comes to these, but they're very like... I'll put a picture up here just so you know what I'm talking about. But they just look really cool. They're very interesting leaf shape and I love them. And then last but not least, we have this beautiful plant that I got from one of my amazing friends / subscribers, Sherry. She saw that I had been looking for one of these forever and she's like, Nikki, I can just send you one. And I'm like, what? No, those are crazy expensive. She's like, no, don't worry about it. And I'm so thankful and so grateful. It has already, so I've only had it for a couple weeks and it has already put out a new little leaf on this one, as you can see. Like, how cute. Let me see if I can focus on it. How cute is that little leaf there? It's so cute. You just want to squish its cheeks. And then there is another leaf coming on this one right here. So it's acclimating quite nicely. We lost those two original leaves, which I figured we would. One was all white and the other one was all green. So I don't know. I figured we lose the white one anyway, but the other leaves are holding up long enough to be able to provide some support and some energy for these new leaves to grow. So it's great. It loves it in there, obviously, and I am so happy to have it. So things to note about this particular terrarium build. I already explained the background. I already explained the tubs that I have at the bottom where I keep leca and some water for ambient humidity. The light, you can't really tell, but that is up there. The same sort of situation, or the situation I was explaining before about the round flat magnets that I super glued to the light bar and then just thunk the light bar onto the top of the cabinet. And then we have this little fan right here that is just hanging from a little magnetic hook and a twist tie, and it's providing air circulation inside of the cabinet. We built this box just to kind of give it like, I don't want to call it a frame, but something so that you don't just see pots sitting here. I think it just looks kind of more like a, what do you call them? Like a deck planter, like a flower box planter. Am I making sense? You get where I'm going with that. Anyway, just like kind of like this one. So I just kind of like that look, and it kind of goes with the theme of my living room area. That's kind of that, you know, coastal farmhouse sort of vibe with the wood and the white, and you know where I'm going with that. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much all I wanted to mention about my cabinets. Now let's go ahead and sit back down and I will answer. I only asked today about questions about this, so I don't know how many I have. I think I have at least maybe 5 to 8 questions. So let's go ahead and answer those. Hi. Okay, let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. So first I'm going to answer the questions that I got on YouTube. So the first one is from Ahmad Hassona. I think I said that correctly. My biggest question is planting medium. What do you pot your aroids and other terrarium plants in to allow growth but prevent mold? Also, how do you induce humidity? So I think a lot of that I covered as far as like addressing humidity and that sort of thing. As far as the actual medium is concerned, it depends on which terrarium or cabinet that we're referring to. So like I said earlier, I did link, as I was kind of going through each cabinet, I did link up in the cards here how I put those together. So if you wanted to actually check those out, that will give you a lot more detail on how I made the medium or what I planted them in. As far as my aroids that are in actual pots, which basically are all of my Millsbo cabinets, those are just in, the majority of them are in my chunky aroid mix. I also have a video on my chunky aroid mix, but it's basically, I usually use, trying to figure out how to word this. I don't even have like exact measurements, but the large majority of it is orchid bark or fir bark is what I actually use. Perlite, charcoal, and then like I would say about 40% of it is soil. A lot of the plants that I have in the aroids that I have like a chunkier mix. So it is a really chunky, in my opinion, beautiful mix, and I really enjoy that. But I do have videos on those as well. I think I have a video on how I make my soil mix. I don't know if I've changed it since. I may have, but I do have a video on that as well. I hope that helps, but it will also help to go back and check out, especially if you're looking at terrariums, how I made the terrariums and what I used for the medium. What's another question here? I got a comment from Lisa saying, great setup. Thank you. I really enjoy them. I love them. They're some of my favorite areas to look at in my plant collection. I really enjoy them. We got another question here from Agnieszka. Let me know if I said that correctly. I really hope I did. I'm so sorry if I didn't. She says, I just got a Millsbo tall cabinet. I already have all the accessories, but still waiting for my acrylic shelves. I have anthuriums and philodendrons, all of the popular rare ones. Can you tell me which ones I have to put in my cabinet and what can be on my shelf in about 50 to 60% humidity? I have too many to all fit in my cabinet. Relatable. So without knowing exactly what you have in your collection, as far as philodendrons go, most of them are pretty easygoing about humidity. Ones that I would say of the more popular ones that probably should be in a higher humidity setting would be things like melanochrysums. They have a lot easier time unfurling their leaves and are prone to sticking if they don't have enough humidity or even proper watering. So that would be a good candidate for a cabinet type situation. That's the one that comes to mind right off the top of my head. A gigas, they also like higher humidity. They have an easier time opening those leaves up. I can think, What else? What else? Pink princesses wouldn't be a horrible option if you have a pink princess to put it in with a little bit higher humidity. They also tend to get a little more prone to leaf stickage. So that'd be a good one. But off the top of my head, that's probably, thanks, Eli. Can you pant somewhere else? Hi, baby. You're lucky you're cute. Can you see him there? He just wanted to come say hi. High five. Good boy. Off the top of my head, those are the ones that I can think of. Anthuriums can be a little bit more of humidity pigs. But unless you're getting into some of the more uncommon ones, like crystallinums, clarinerviums, magnificums, even regal, those ones can all be out in your household humidity, which you said was about 50 to 60%, and they will be completely okay with that. It's when you're getting into some of the other tricky ones. Some of them I did point out there. So Warwickwianum usually does require a little higher humidity, or they are happier in that humidity. The Debolus, like I said before, the Rugulosum, those ones like higher humidity. I think that's probably the more popular variety. If you have any further ones that you actually wanted to ask me specifically about, go ahead and throw it down in the comments, and I can probably give you like my opinion on, you know, in or out of the cabinet. But if your household humidity is usually around 50 to 60%, that's really fairly good for most of the common, uncommon plants, if that makes any sense. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Lisa wants to know, how is the dust production? Is it less than the shelves without the doors? Yes, absolutely. The only thing that I find with the, so my leaves, like if we're talking about my living wall cabinets, they don't get the leaf dust like the plants that are sitting out in, you know, normal shelves, which is really, really nice. You don't have to clean the leaves as often. It also helps to have the air circulation in those in closer quarters so that dust really doesn't even get a chance to sit on them per se. But yes, definitely much more minimal shelf dust. But you also have, because the leaves transpire, so they drip. You'll notice in the morning when you go around, look at your plants, a lot of them have like little water droplets dripping off them, which is something that they do, and that's how they process excess water in their systems. So in a terrarium setting, or sorry, I shouldn't even say terrarium setting, in a cabinet setting with the glass shelves, they do tend to drip, so you do get watermarks, but I just clean that up with some vinegar and it's a-okay. Good question. I actually hadn't even thought of that question, and nobody's asked about that before. Okay, I think that was all of the questions on YouTube. Let me just double check. Okay, that was all the questions that I got on YouTube. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question, but if I didn't get to your question, please go ahead and feel free to ask me down in the comments, and I will answer it down there. So, I don't know what that was. On Instagram, let's answer some questions. I only got 4 on Instagram. I really should have posted this yesterday. I'm so sorry that I didn't give you guys enough of an opportunity to ask. So let's look at the first one here. So Rosulica, I think I said that correctly, asks, have you sealed your cabinets and how? Do you use humidifiers? Love from Finland. So I kind of touched on that briefly with my cabinets. I did use some weather stripping around the doors to kind of block some of the larger gaps. I don't use humidifiers. I don't like creating that much humidity within a space that wasn't designed to be super humid. Reason for that is unless you're coating everything with an anti-rust prevention, you're going to have rusting issues. I've seen so many people have rust problems with on the insides of their Mills bows, and 9 times out of 10 It's because people have humidifiers in there and it's just pumping the humidity. So these situations where people are putting so much moisture into a cabinet that's really not designed for that, they're designed really to be like a display unit, not a greenhouse. So unless you're completely sealing it off, rust proofing it, even then you want to be careful, because I've seen so many, and actually I looked at another one yesterday where this person had their glass just spontaneously shatter. So you really have to watch the environment on the inside of your cabinet and remember that it's not designed for the purpose that we're using it for. I hope that answered your question. Hug Bam says, do you put live critters in them? By live critters, do you mean like lizards or amphibians? If that's the case, no, I don't. I would like to maybe down the road create a second like Exoterra, like my terrarium, and really do some research on the different plants that are able to be put in there. And then in that situation, I would love to have some sort of lizard or amphibian. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I've never owned one before. So I think that would be a really fun little thing to have. And maybe down the road, who knows? Who knows? But I'd have to come across another Exoterra, and they're actually kind of hard to come across one of a good size. So who knows? We'll see. Not sure how to pronounce this. It's M-R-A-G-I-L, no, M-R-A-G-L-I-O-N-E. I'm sorry if that's you. I'm not really sure if it's supposed to be like Mr. Aguiloni or I don't know. I'm so sorry. Anyways, they say, do you prefer the ones with shelves or the ones, what does that say? Do you prefer the ones with shelves or the ones that you scaped better? Me personally, I definitely prefer the ones that I actually scaped and built myself. Obviously, I find that much more rewarding. It's so nice to have a beautiful display piece that you've built yourself and you've planted, and to watch it, everything grow and fill in those spaces is just so much more of a rewarding experience than just putting some plants on shelves and just watching them grow or not. So I would say absolutely 150% the ones that I actually painstakingly built myself. They're hands down. Hope that answers your question. Okay, and the last question I have here is from Lindsay. Lindsay says, did you seal the pegboard? What did you use and how long has it been in there? How's it holding up? So actually I answered those questions as I went around to each individual one. So the one I used, the wooden lattice, holding up amazingly well. I do believe that when I purchased those are the actual like weather sealed ones, and I bought it from Home Depot. The other one I used that plastic like project board, I guess it's called, like a corrugated like 2-ply, I don't know what you call it. It's like plastic, corrugated plastic board, I think is what it was called on Amazon when I bought it. And so far so good. That's held up really well. The lattice is probably the one that most people will be concerned with. Again, I don't use the pegboard. And it's held up really, really well. I don't have any molding. I don't have any weird smells, rotting smells or anything like that. And I think it's been up for probably a year. I would have to go back and look, but if it's not a year yet, it's coming up really close. No, it has to be a year, right? Because I think I had it last Christmas. Wow. Anyway, so that's what I've done. And as far as the spray foam goes, that stuff is meant to hold up to moisture and it doesn't mold. I've also sealed everything with silicone so that nothing can kind of get in those nooks and crannies. And it's all held up really, really well. I've explained to you like everything that I can think of that are like pros and cons of all the pieces that I have. And I have honestly no complaints with with anything else. So I hope that answers your question. I'm so sorry if it didn't. Like I said, if you wanted to ask a question about my terrariums or about my Millspo cabinets, please go ahead and throw it down in the comments. I know this video has probably been a little bit long, which is no surprise to any of my regular GFP viewers because it's what I do. And because I'm only posting one video a week right now, I am extending them to a little bit longer. So I don't mind doing that because I'm not posting twice a week. That's pretty much all I have for you today. Stay tuned next week because I am doing a repot with me Q&A. It's been a while since I've done a Q&A. So on my community tab, I have created a post. You can go over there and ask any questions, personal or planty, and I will answer them for you next Friday. When you're watching this, I'm not sure if it will still be up, but I did also ask over on my Instagram. But if you're more inclined to use Instagram, you can go ask me over there, or alternatively, you can go ahead and just ask me down in the description. Nope, that's my spot. Your spot's the comments. In the comments of this video, if you have any questions for next week's repop and Q&A with me, if you have any questions for next week's repot with me Q&A. Good job, Nikki. Okay. Thank you guys so much for liking and watching and commenting and subscribing. If you're not subscribed already, please consider doing so. It is a huge help for me and I really do appreciate it. Also, go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. Here's my Instagram. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me over there. It is an okay time over there. I post updates. I post pictures of plants all the time, random thoughts that come into my head. That's where usually I also ask questions for future videos. Or if again, like I said before, if I'm doing a subscriber involved video, that's where normally I will ask you for those things as well. So that is all. I would like you all to have an amazing and wonderful day, night, week, month, and year. I love you all to bitty bits, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah!